Good morning, good night, or good evening. And today, well, I can be pleased to tell you that we've got a double feature, or we can split it into one video with the tech line and then a second one to showcase her, which I think is what we'll do. We've got double footage of Cataluña today, folks. Some really good matches that I really think showcase how good this ship is. And I still stand by my fundamentals video. I still believe what was applied in that video still applies to how you play the Cataluña. But the Cataluña will show you how to take it even further onto the tier 9 and then tier 10. But I really do like this ship. So right off the bat, without the merits flag, 5% to credits, 55 to ship XP, 65 to commander XP, and then 100 with the clan. Armor-wise, well, she is squishy. She is a squishy ship. Against cruisers, she's fairly tanky. Battleships, not so much. 25 millimeter bow. You do have an icebreaker, 50 millimeters, but it's so low that it won't really matter because that bow is huge. Then the Citadel armor is 150, belt armor at 30, and then the plating is at 27. So you can bounce shells on the 30 millimeter plating right here. But again, that is a pretty small piece of plating. Deck armor, 27 all across. Stern, same kind of deal. It has that 50 millimeter breaker, and then it has basically the 25 millimeter stern. So the armor's tanky against cruisers and resilient, but against battleships you're going to struggle. So don't pick an open fight with a battleship. Survivability wise, 40,800 for HP, and then a 7% torpedo reduction. So not the best, but it works. Just don't take torps. If you take a torp, a Japanese torp, a Euro torp, any kind of torp will probably more than likely hurt. Because that's only 7%. That's not a lot. Artillery-wise, she's got some good battery guns. She gets basically 9 203 millimeter guns. So they have a base reload of 12.5 seconds. Minimum switch time of 7.5. I highly recommend putting the gun feeder on this. I ran it without gun feeder and I found it very abysmal. When it was switched, it was much more comfortable. 180 minimum of 26 seconds. Dispersion 137. Range at 16.5. It's not the best, but it's still pretty decent. Secondaries. These secondaries are actually really decent. 7 kilometer range, 4-second reload, 1500 max damage, 5% of fire, 21 armor pit, and a velocity of 900 milliseconds. Now, the AP and the HE also on the main batteries also do the exact same, so there's nothing real special. These are... One thing I do want to say is that these aren't floaty shells at all. These are actually very... they don't have a long shell arc. They're pretty fast. Not railguns, but I do like the ballistics. Torpedoes, you get basically 2, quad mounts. And they do have a 6-second 180, a little under a minute and a half reload, 8 kilometer range, 16,000 damage, 61 knots, and a 1.3 detection. They're all very, standardized. There's nothing real special about them. The only downside about them is that I've been playing the ship, and one thing I've noticed is that those torp tubes, as you can see right there, do get knocked out fairly easy. And I mean, by fairly easy, I mean, don't be surprised if you're going for a torp rush and they get blown up. Airstrike-wise, she gets 2 flights, 7 kilometer range, 2 bombs, 4,200 max damage. If you're going to fight a sub, fight it on your terms. Don't fight it on its terms. AA-wise, now, this AA doesn't look the best. So, when we go in, we're going to see 10 dual mount, 20 millimeters, 6 dual mount, 37 millimeters, and then her 6 123 millimeters. That doesn't look like grade AA. It doesn't look like grade AA. But I can rest assured that it's actually fairly decent AA. It's not. It actually took me by surprise on the Raptor Rescue map that you will be watching. I was actually very surprised. And I didn't have a lot of health when I went into it. I actually survived pretty long. So the AA, I can actually say that it is actually very decent. Again, as you can see, the majority of it is in this medium and short range AA. Long range 98, medium 133. Now that is without defensive fire. With defensive fire, that would go up a lot higher. But without it, it's still fairly decent. Maneuverability-wise, 37 knots, extremely great. That is impressive. I really do love the speed on this ship. 850 turning circle. It's a little big, but it works. She's a very good ship, and the rudder shift is not bad when you have it spec to 8.2. Concealment, I don't have concealment modules since it's only a 10-point captain. I haven't really had a good time to grind up Spanish captains. So we are working with 12 with 13 kilometer concealment. So how I run her is main armaments 1, engine room protection, because it is a little squishy on the back. I would recommend taking this because in case your rudder gets knocked out, the odds of you having engine room protection, it would be very wise to have this skill. I'll just break it down for that honest. Aiming systems mod 1, of course. Steering gears, concealment. And then, well, you get minimum 3 charges of repair party, minimum 3 charges of hydro or def AA, and then minimum 3 charges of spotting or fighter. I actually had the fighter mounted by accident, but for all due purposes, always do spotter. Because you do have not the best range at 16.4. And if you get up to tier 10, if you're grinding in an ops, randoms, or co-op or whatever, you want that extra range. Now, for our main gimmick is the burst fire. So, the burst fire mode is what stands all of these cruisers apart. So, there's a 1.8 interval between shots. So, if you aim right on the first shot, the second shot's going to be just as good. And one of those replays does have it where I finally mastered the reload on this thing. I love it. It hits cruisers hard. Even better than the Asteris. The HE, just as good. Now, the only downside is you have to use this one sparingly. Because when that burst fire goes off and your guns are reloading, you do feel having that extra reload. You will feel it. Between 12.5 seconds and a 31-second reload afterwards, you feel the difference. So, you've got to be sure you've got perfect broadsides on this burst fire before you use it. If you have perfect broadsides, you're going to have a fun time in this cruiser. Absolutely. Again, we don't run no flags to give you the base of how you would. Now, if you didn't have the ability to mount the Celestial Dragon, this is what it would look like if you wanted to buy it. But if you're, did all the tokens, had enough tokens left over, and ground the early access, you could get this nice little camo. It's a very nice little camo. I like it. I wish this had more of a shimmer, though. I would have liked the dragon and everything to kind of glow more. But that's the only thing I have really that I can really pick on. I really do like this cruiser. But let's get into the replay and the extra footage I will be also giving you, and you will see how the ship performs. I really do enjoy it. Good morning, good night, and good evening, folks. And today we've got Cataluña on Raptor Rescue. Now, this was a pretty good match. We've got Northco, Brandenburg, New Mexico, Cleveland, Pensacola, and Dallas. And like I said in the text one, I didn't have spotter. I had fighter.
Attention Task Force Commander. Escort the support ship and floating workshop to the carrier. Over.
And it has been a long day. I'll be honest. So I
Attention
made
engineer.
some
Restore the
mistakes
carrier
early
to
on.
operational condition. Attention, Arsenal and Aviator. Deliver ammunition and resupply the Raptor's air group. Over.
Esperando instrucciones.
All stations. Quick defeat of enemy forces is key to success. Send them all to Davy Jones fast.
I have AP loaded for the cruiser, but I'll switch back to HE for the DD. I think I did. I don't even remember. I did, yes. I did switch back to HE and then I switched back to AP. Now, as you can tell, this was before I put gun feeder on. So you'll get to see what the ship does without gun feeder and with gun feeder. And you'll notice like a significant difference.
Alarma de incendio.
Even though those were practically perfect broadsides, mostly overpins. Double fires. And it's not this
Problema
one
resuelto,
that,
señor.
we screw up, but it's where we made the huge mistakes. And when we turn, and I'm thinking, ow. Fortunately, they all overpinned. Second salvo. And that hurts. Second, another salvo, and for some reason it misses.
Acorazado enemigo destruido.
But as you can tell, we lost a massive chunk of our HP. Shoot, nothing spotted, so that tells me they're in the south. And we're gonna go for the CV. We don't have a lot of health, let's be honest. We only lost half our health. We still have 2 heals, so we can heal some of it back. But you do see that these heals don't last long. They only last 30 seconds, and they don't heal for a huge
Pay
amount.
special attention to torpedo defense.
Doesn't help I also took a Citadel, though, too. Which is unfortunate, but it's what happens when you make a mistake. The trick is, how do you come back from that mistake? Because, let's be honest, we all have our off days where we're doing great, and some days we're just exhausted and we just are like, I'm done. And I can't do it anymore. And we sometimes make mistakes like that, or we just go broadside thinking, okay, we're going to end it and we'll start over. Well, it may not kill you. So you either go kill yourself on another task, or you just figure out, well, I'm gonna keep trugging along. And that's honestly what happened in this match. I tried to kill myself, and then I was like, well, you know what? Because I had a really bad Cherry Blossom match. I lost a crap ton of damage. I wanted to test this ship out on Cherry Blossom to see how the AA would work, and just a lot of things, but it didn't end up going that way for me. So I just lost my ability. But I do think that I redeemed myself with this
Working on an
one.
optimal route for you. Proceed.
It ended up being pretty dang clear from what I was hoping to get. But I really do enjoy this ship. You do see that there is a lot for enemy ships to shoot at, though. That is a big thing that sticks out to me, is that there is no ducking and dodging. There's only wiggling.
Moving on.
Fortunately, Cleveland, I think, took some of the fire off me. Popped my other heal, because I'm going straight into these DDs.
enemigo avistado.
The DD spawn. Fortunately, he's not stopping me. They're both north. I swing the guns back around. This also, before I had adrenaline gun feeder, I had grease the gears. So, in this replay, you'll get to see me without adrenaline, without gun feeder, and with grease the gears. The second one is with gun feeder, but without grease the gears. And you really have to, like, judge when to use the funny button. When is it worth it? Like, that was the perfect time. Now, the planes are attacking us again, and England. Although, in hindsight, I thought, well, this might actually hurt. But they all miss me. Ironically.
Casa destruido.
But I'm not going to be able to get that CV because he's already going around. So it's like, well, I've got to meet him on the other side then. So I swing my guns back to kill the DD. And you do see that we are shooting planes down. It does hit me, not a citadel, but it still does a decent amount of damage. I blew the funny button because I wanted to get that kill. I did the damage to him, I want that kill. My left side, my right side torps are almost reloaded. Planes are coming back in. Again, thankfully they missed. But you see, then they get incapacitated. We have funny button, outside carriers, and not much, really.
Hemos hundido un portaaviones enemigo. Casa en el aire.
Based on that, I really do think this ship can hold its own against planes. I really do think that. Carrier planes, Hermes is another story. Fully AA built Cheshire, fully AA built San Diego, those can handle Hermes.
Task Force Commander here. Transmitting rendezvous point. Do you copy?
And good news, those two are coming soon.
Course.
Because we are going to be picking up Cheshire and San Diego soon. So I'm pleased to announce that. Planes coming in, and they bump through a bunch of our flak bubbles, and we managed to just shoot them all out of the sky.
Casa regresando al barco.
So 26 planes, and we're at 116K for losing half of our health. And that was Mr. Cleveland that said that. He was a nice player. Very nice player.
Air Wing is ready for duty.
I ended up giving him a compliment. He had very good manners, and it was nice to talk to someone like him. I was like, I like that they attack again, which was nice. And I believe he asked me, how do I like the Cataluña? I think that was the next one. Yep. How do you like the Cataluña? And I believe, yeah, and I believe that yes, that is the Cleveland. I was typing. That's why you're not seeing me shoot. And I was like, decent. We'll be making a making a video on her for my YouTube page. Cool, cool. What's your channel?
All stations requesting fire on the designated target.
Operation Replays. Now we know that the cruisers are coming from, so I'm anticipating 2 cruisers and 2 battleships. And he was like, "You think you'll post this one?" And I'm like, "Possibly." Yeah, he was a nice guy. Very nice guy. Detected. I see battleships immediately spawn. That tells me 2 battleships, 2 cruisers. I instantly throw it hard to starboard. And get that ship turned around. Though the battleships can shoot me for a tiny bit. There's shots. Fortunately, they all missed. That would have been unfortunate had it gone right through my bow.
Caza en el aire.
Not my spotter. Or fire plane. I can afford to lose this guy up. I don't really care about him. Pop hydro because there are cruisers
Caza
coming.
destruido.
I'm just gonna wait for the cruisers. I'm getting into a position, though, to deal with the battleships. Cruiser spawn. He's not fully angled yet.
All stations, concentrate fire on the target.
Torpedos a babor.
Then he goes broadside. Boom. Boom. And that's what happens when a proper funny button
Hemos
happens.
destruido un crucero
Bad bye
enemigo.
cruiser. And the good news is the torps would have hit had he not killed him. Back up. Because I'm almost reloaded with another funny button. And I'll pick up this cruiser. Boom. It's gone.
Crucero enemigo hundido.
And then we go hunting for battleships. The bad news is we still have 30 seconds before our torps are online. Which, do I think it killed me in the end? I think I might have killed myself in the very beginning. But I was pleased with the very end. Shoot a B, funny button him, and I do about 10,000 to it. We get a fire. That's a permanent. And I just do the drive-by. He launches torp.
Torpedos a babor.
And do a drive-by on the Nern.
Acorazado enemigo.
Legato and blow him to pieces.
Alarma de incendio.
Unfortunately, we screwed up.
Problema resuelto,
He got
señor.
me with the back turret on that. Had I possibly waited and got this Ioku side, I probably would have had it.
La batalla finaliza en 5 minutos.
I'm gonna die. It's clear.
Alarma
But
de
I'm gonna
incendio.
try to take this Ioku. Although, at that range, for some odd reason, even though I was hitting the Citadel, 17 overpins. On the broadside, though, my damage went up double. 257. Okay. 29 planes. Well, GG. Now, looking at the shells, It was about half and half. And I was like, odds are, yes, you will be on YouTube. Though I am shocked that Pensy did live at 1,000 health. If I had lived, we would have had a tactical expertise. He's like, yay! But I mean, yeah, if you guys ever see me in Ops and you're a viewer, feel free to ask me. It may not be a good match for me, but hell, I might be willing to put you on YouTube for free. I'll be watching for an upload. Again, hi YouTube. So, solid 5 stars. I don't really know what happened to the Raptor, though. I was so busy just killing stuff that I didn't even... I looked back afterwards and I'm like, how did he lose 30,000 health? I'm still kind of trying to figure that out. I don't really understand it. I still don't understand it. I have to literally rewatch my replay again just to figure out what the hell happened. But a pretty good match for the Cataluña. In score, we got assistant. Again, 257K. Around 300,000 credits and 5,000 commander XP, or ship XP. Top the team with 1840. Cleveland, the nice Cleveland was third. The tier 6s, unfortunately, were at the bottom. But that's to be expected if you're tier 6 anymore, which is unfortunate. And those were actually good premiums, or good tier 6 ships, too. If it was tier 6 ops, odds are those guys would be at the top. But, as you can see, very decent damage across the board. We did, with all of our AP salvos, we did 23,000 to the, or 24,000 to the key. And Nagato, we did, well, 37,000. So, that was like 60,000 damage between those two ships. That was a lot. In terms of damage taken, as you can see, the key took a lot of our health away. And then, Fuso took only around 13,000. Which is ironic. In the grand scope of things, more ships took more of our HP away than the Fuso did. And then for spotting damage, did a decent amount. Final score, not too bad. We didn't make a huge profit. We made a decent amount of this and that. Again, I wasn't running any boosters, so that's why. But I really do like the Cataluña.